Jilly, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you, Gary?
I'm good.
Thanks very much for having me here.
I was going to just switch it around there and say also you want to talk to me for my fashion tips,
I've been desperate.
etc.
I've been desperate to. I've been calling it. I've been thinking, where can I find a fashion guru?
And then you thought, there's
and I came to the green room.
Aye,
Here I am.
speak to Gary.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's good to have you. Obviously, I've been trying to get you on as your manager. Will testify for a wee while, but there's been flus and you name it. There's been all sorts.
It has been a while, but if there's anybody that gets sick, it's me. if there's a flu going about, I will catch it. Honestly, I went on a girls' holiday there, sick when I went away, and every single girl has proceeded to get it. There was 11 girls there, and I just passed it on. I was like a new strain in COVID. But yeah. I'm glad to finally be here and of full health.
So we're going to talk business in the fashion world. But before we get to that side of it, same question I ask everybody when they come on. What were you like at school? What did you want to do when you were kind of getting to leaving school age?
So in primary, I pure loved pantos and shows and musicals. Right. So I did that when I was a wee girl.
Right.
I think I did obviously I did like a school show, learned that I loved it. Manty Irene had an Alicia Keys CD and I sang along to Alicia Keys and Manty Irene says that she discovered me. And then after that, my mum became a pure stage mum and took me to Hunter's auditions and I loved it. Absolutely loved being on the stage. Did a few pantos at the Pavilion, Kings. I actually did one with Stephen Purdon that you had on.
Oh, did you?
I did Peter Pan and I get paid for that one, which was unreal.
Nice.
I was in primary 7, I get paid for it and I bought myself a mobile that then got stole on a holiday in Benidorm. That I forced my mum to take me to the police station say somebody stole my phone. Mum was like, you're not getting that back.
What kind of phone was it?
It was this beautiful Nokia phone, right? It was like shaped like that and you flipped it up and it had flowers on it. It was the pure phone to have and I was so proud that I'd earned that money myself. But it was quite decent. Like it was like the period of Christmas time. I think I got like £200 for it and I was in primary 7, so I was rich gang. And obviously, why did my mum let me spend all that money? Like, why are you doing that? But anyway, I bought that. So when I was in primary, I thought it's 100% what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I was a pure teacher's pet at primary, like bit of a geek. But the school that I went to, like that's how you were cool. Let's see if you were heavy clever and like tried heavy hard and like heavy fast. If you were best at everything. Yeah. And then I went to secondary school and had a harsh reality that that's not how you're cool. Like when I was in first year, I went to school at a Marks and Spencer's uniform. Like all the cool girls had quiz. So I don't know if you know, you're a fashion guru, so you might know that.
Obviously, But
all the cool girls had quiz. That was the uniform. So the induction day we went and I was wearing my Marks and Spencer's skirt that was long. I had on like a grey vest. None of the girls were wearing that. So I went home crying to my mum like, I'm a geek. You need to take me to quiz. And obviously I've got ginger hair, so I get absolutely slaughtered for about 6 years of my life because you could commit war crimes and nothing would have been worse than having ginger hair in high school. Like that is a fact.
True.
So I actually I really loved primary school, hated secondary, couldn't wait to leave. Eventually left. I did my whole 6 year because I wanted to go to uni because I was just kind of like, what you did, you went to college or you went to uni? Went to uni, I went to Glasgow Caledonian. I studied fashion business there for 4 years. Hated that as well.
Oh, did you?
I'm just not very much I'm just not a studious person. I hated studying. I loved the creative side of thing. But I do think like the mathematical side of the brain I do not have at all. Like, I had to get a tutor for Int 2 maths. Like it was a struggle. I mean, I got an A for it and it's my proudest. It was my proudest out of all my grades. Getting an A in Int 2 maths was big. So I just didn't enjoy studying. But like I said, it was just like what you did coming out of high school. I think I was quite young for my age as well. I graduated when I was still at school when I was 18. So I left school when I was 18, went straight into uni, and I think I was quite young for my age. Like I couldn't have seen myself leaving school and starting a full-time job. I was still kind of in like the headspace of like, you wake up in the morning, you go and you get told what to do for the day, you have your homework kind of thing. So yeah, didn't love uni. I will never ever open my book again and study in my life.
Never?
Absolutely never. I don't know how people go on and do masters. Like, fair enough, but you won't catch me in another learning environment. Absolutely not. Just dreadful.
I was going to show my agency when I was at high school. Every girl used to have a Jane Norman bag.
In primary school, you would have a Jane Norman bag. There was also Cookie. I don't know if you remember Cookie. I had a Cookie bag when I was in primary school.
Shelly boots.
You're showing your age there. I don't know that. I remember my big cousin Lauren, she had a Miss 60 jacket.
Right.
And it was like the floor length one. That was cool.
Aye.
A bench as well. There was a bench jacket. But that kind of went away by the time I was at school. When I was there, it was Paul, what was it called again? These big bags. It was called Paul something. Oh, I can't remember the second. It's going to annoy me. Anyway, maybe some of your listeners will know. It was this big, massive bag and it had hundreds of charms in that, and you had this Paul bag. I remember the second name.
Right, okay.
So, if the bag mustn't have been that good because I can't remember the second name.
That's wee guy Paul will be watching this going, that's my
just
bag.
Paul, how do you not remember me? I was massive in 2010.
So after uni then, what were you thinking? Because obviously if you didn't enjoy that part of it, what were you then thinking job-wise? What did you fancy doing at that point?
Well, during uni, during my summers, 2 summers, I worked 2 seasons in Ibiza.
Right.
So to be honest, I thought, forget education and fashion. I'm just going to go and live in Ibiza for the rest of my life. But I worked as a shop girl, and I don't think that would have really gave me the life that I'd wanted.
Aye.
Or I mean, it would have for a wee while, and then I probably got to 25 and been the oldest shop girl to ever exist on the planet, and people being like, "I'm not buying shots for you. You're pure old." So I don't know how well I would have did as a older shop girl. But the plan was just to try and get a job. So I'd interviewed for a couple of internships. And then my last year, I just started applying for jobs. It was like May time we graduate. So I'd applied for a job in April for a social media assistant. And when I'd first started uni, social media wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a part of your curriculum at all. I did not learn about social media at all at uni. But I'd imagine now the course that I studied, I think they would definitely have social media in, because my course was half fashion, half business. So half of it was like learning about fashion, like in the books, but then I also did design. So a big part of my degree was actually making clothes, and then the other half was the business side. So we did like marketing, economics and stuff. So in the marketing, 100% it would have been a part of social media, but it wasn't at all. But I'd worked in retail all during my time at uni. So I worked in cruise, and then I worked in All Saints, and when I worked in cruise, Instagram just kind of started being a thing. So me and another girl did cruises Instagram, and then I just kind of like found a love for like taking pictures of things. I really love styling. I've always liked styling. So I think I kind of like naturally fell into that because I was younger as well. I was going out every weekend, so I'd be taking pictures of my outfit. So I enjoyed Instagram. And just like in the last year at uni, I kind of realised, like you can actually have a job in social media. So I applied for social media assistant at a fashion brand in Glasgow called Quiz, funnily enough. And I got the job, which was, it's good because it's really scarce jobs for fashion in Scotland. So a lot of girls or boys, anyone that works in fashion, need to move down the road, so they would go to London. At the time, Manchester wasn't really a hub for fashion yet. It is definitely now. But anyone that I really knew that got a job in fashion all moved to London. And I was applying for jobs in London, but I was just coming up plums. And to be honest, I didn't really know how I was going to afford it. I think I was still very young in the brain. I was like, how am I going to move away? And like, how am I going to pay bills? I stayed at home with my mum, because my mum and my dad, I stayed in the south side of Glasgow, so I would just drive to uni every day for like 20 minutes. So I never had like the student experience. It was just like an extension of school, really. So I was really lucky to get a job straight out of uni. I think I'd graduated uni and a week later I'd started my job in Quiz. So that was quite good. And I worked there for about 2-3 years, worked my way up to start working on the campaigns, so like the photo shoots, which I loved. That was my favourite part of the job. Never really enjoyed the social media aspect, like uploading to Instagram and Facebook and stuff. It started boring me a lot. So I really liked the photo shoot side of things, and it was class because I think I started working at Quiz when I was like 21 or 22. And I'd started in like the May-June time, and in the August time I got to go to Marrakesh and do a photo shoot. And that was class. I was like, oh my God.
It's like a dream job, innit?
I'm like Devil Wears Prada. This is Vogue. Like, I can't believe this is my life. And I got to travel to class places, to be fair. It was really, really good. but I grew out of it. Like I learned a lot in that job, and it was definitely good for me to go in that, because like I said, I was young in the head, so I was still very much like wake up in the morning, go into your job, and you'll be told to do stuff.
Yeah. Did you get more out of that job? Not more out of it, but did you learn more than you did at the uni side of things, actually being in?
Yeah, 100%. And even now with my own businesses, I've learned more from starting my own businesses than I ever had with uni.
Yeah.
I honestly, I will maybe come into it a wee bit later, but I wish I just skipped uni.
Really?
I wish I was more mature at the age of 18 and just started my business earlier. But obviously you do everything for a reason. So it primed me to get there. And I learned a lot when I worked at Quiz. I made a lot of amazing contacts. Like my networking was really good there. Like people that I met when I first started Quiz, like are still friends in the industry now, which is massive with fashion. I mean, it is basically with everything. It's who you know, not what you know. But with fashion, it's massive. Like you need to know somebody somewhere. And then maybe if you do, it's even just like an invite to an event, and then you meet other people there. And like even like some of my best pals that I still have now, I met through Quiz.
Right, okay.
So it served its purpose for me, but I just kind of like grew out the role. I soon discovered I hate being told what to do.
Right.
Like I hate it. And I don't mean to be like, I know best, but like I felt as if in certain situations I did feel as if I knew best, and I was having to listen to people that I thought like, I can do this job better than you. Like, why am I listening to you? So that eventually just kind of gave me a kick up the bum. I'd been thinking for a wee while to start my own fashion brand. Obviously, that's what I studied at uni. So I was like, I mean, I was putting my degree to work, like in the marketing side of things. I was like, but actually being able to put my degree to use for like building something with my own name. So I think I just kind of like outgrew Quiz, but it was like it served its purpose. And then it kind of gave me the kick up the bum to start my own business. That's when I started Dula. But while I was building Dula, I went full time with influencing. So I was at Quiz. I was like just posting on Instagram just because I like posting on Instagram. I think people were just interested seeing like where I was going, because we were doing cool stuff. We were doing cool photo shoots. We were working like reality stars. We would go to London and do events. I was traveling places. Like we got to go to Miami. I went to Marrakesh with them, Ibiza, Cannes, like travel to some class places. And also I was just taking pictures and uploading them. And I kind of built a following for that. And then in 2019, that was the year I left, but in 2019, a brand took me to Coachella. I was like, this is my big day.
Dream gig.
Massive time. I'm going to earn so much money for influencing, quit Quiz, and then fast realise, oh my God, I'm not earning enough to be doing this. But I'm very much a person that, like, I wouldn't have built up my influencing while still having my full job at Quiz. It would have been too much for me. So it freed up my time to put more energy into it, and I was just in a fortunate position that I could have did that. Because obviously not everyone can leave their 9-to-5 job and build something. Like it's just reality. So I was very lucky. I was in a lucky position that I could have did that. And
it's even with that kind of being fortunate enough to do that, it's still a risk for you, because you're obviously walking away from a full-time gig to influencing, and that's what I was curious about. Obviously, I'm a fashion influencer, as we know, but
the biggest fashion influencer in Glasgow anyway.
How do you find it? Because you'll see, if you're just to Google what is an influencer, you'll probably get about 100 different versions of what that looks like. But you were in that, you were living that. How did you find the actual A, trying to make money from it, and B, how other people viewed that as a job?
Yeah, I mean, I think even still now, I think there definitely is a stigma with it. I think a lot of it just comes from because I don't think people really understand it. And then also, like, it is a cushy number. Influencing. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't think it's a hard job at all. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And it's like any self-employed job, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get back out. So the more I work in a month, that's completely dependent on how much money I'm going to earn. So if you think it in that terms as hard work, like quotation marks, then but that's just any self-employed job. But the actual job itself is not hard work. It's the exact same amount of work as what I did when I had my 9-to-5 job. But my 9-to-5 job is just more accepted because it's more understood. So I think that's where the stigma comes from a wee bit. I think there might be not at all saying people are jealous of me,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there might be a wee bit of bitterness towards it because there is a lot of money that can be made in it for something very simple. I don't want to say easy because I don't want to make out as if influencers are pure lazy and we've got this pure easy job, but it is pretty simple. Like if you have nice style or if you find a niche and you create content in a way that's interesting, there's so much opportunity. So I think that's where like maybe like the bad energy influencing goes towards. I don't really mind it because like, I mean, I don't understand what plumbers do you know what I mean? I'm not giving hateful energy towards it.
Well,
like when people say influencing isn't a job, like Google what is the definition of a job? Like something you do to earn money. I'm earning money, so influencing is a job. I'll even find myself sometimes if people ask me what I'll do, I'll be like, oh, I work in marketing. Oh, I'm at work in digital content creation because I'm still like, I'm not telling them I'm an influencer, go hang up your bam. Or I'll say, oh, I've got my own women's wear label.
Aye. Which is sad as well though, that's what you need to do.
I probably shouldn't care as much people think of me, but sometimes I'm just like, you see it in people's face as soon as you see influencer and like, oh, I can't bother getting into it. But when I first started, so I did like my brand deals myself, and that was difficult, like trying to get your name out there. I'd obviously had that experience working in social media on like the back end of it. So I was working from a brand perspective. So I had outreach to influencers before. I knew how to negotiate deals. So I think that was probably how I transitioned into that really easy because I had that experience anyway. I knew exactly what to do. But I think I did it myself for about 9 months and I definitely struggled a bit. Like I was earning less than what I earned at my job at Quiz. And then I signed with an agency and then they really like took me to like a proper like next level, like influencing is actually like a full-time job. When I did sign with them though, COVID hit. So that was a wee bit of an awkward like transition. But then everyone all of a sudden just started spending hundreds of money and
you couldn't do anything else.
There's nothing else. So people were just in like, if you speak to loads of influencers, they'll say how much like their Instagram boomed or like any of their socials boomed during COVID because people were just, that's all they were doing. They were just sat at home and watching YouTube videos, TikTok kicked off, Instagram. So yeah, I think my signing with that agency definitely helped me like take it like to a step further because they had all contacts for like brands and stuff. And the way it works, I know this, if you're working with a brand, if you've got a budget, it's easier to email an agency that's got a roster of people and be like, here's my budget. If you got anyone that fits within that budget, here's what the brief is. So there's just a wider reach of jobs.
So did you, before you had an agent, were you then having to just pitch yourself into these?
I made a media kit and it's basically just like, it's like a CV essentially. And you just put down like your social stats, like how good your likes are, your engagement, your reach, things like that, like your content, what you've created. And I would just send it to people.
Right. And that's quite hard as well because you're obviously putting yourself out there for
100%. I actually know a few girls now that they do it themselves, but they've got a fake email set up and they pretend they're someone else because there is something, you get away with being cheeky asking for more money when it's not just you as a person. So I like one of my friends, she's called Sandra. Hi, I'm just reaching out for such and such. I won't say her name. Kind regards, Sandra. And Sandra gets her on real deals, by the way. She's like, I'm just going to be cheeky. Like, give me X amount for this.
But it's
you
mental
can get away with it more.
It's mental that you feel, I don't know if that's a Scottish thing or not, but people always feel pure thing with talking about money. 100%. And asking for money from somebody.
For sure. Let's see if like somebody owes you a lot of money and they don't give you it back, like you're never seeing that money again because I can't ask you for it. Like, it's stupid. Like, that's my money. Do you know what I mean?
You
or
feel
like
mortified.
Outstanding invoices. That was one when I did it myself. I hated having to chase invoices. And when you were just like a small scale doing it yourself, it's hard. I was like, I don't need to do that now because I'm signing my agency, which thank God. But yeah, things like that. Money is an awkward one.
No, I couldn't be doing with that. I'd like, don't worry about it.
I'll do it for free. Do you want me to do it? Do you want me to do another one?
Aye. Just whenever you've got it. Doesn't make a difference.
No worries, mate. Don't stress.
What about you touched on it there when you were talking about like if somebody was a plumber, you when they slaughter them. A lot of people see influencers as fair game online, which is mental based on what you said about someone else's job. But how do you balance that side of it? Because I speak to a lot of people and like I shut it out, which is fine in theory, but everybody's human.
Yeah, of course.
And there's obviously bits of that will jab at you, but how do you cope with it on a kind of regular basis?
I think, see, with influencing in just any social media presence, I do think you just need to have a thick skin.
Yeah.
Because it's just part and parcel that you will get
Yeah.
hate on some level. If it's someone being like, I can't stand your voice, or if it's someone being like, I want to murder you, like it is just part and parcel. That's what it is. You're going to get trolls.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you just need to have a bit of a thick skin. Maybe because I was called Ginger for 6 years in my life, maybe I've just got a heavy thick skin. And it also, like, I'm heavy good at arguing. So like I'll give out as good as I get. I wouldn't really reply to like hate comments or anything like that. I used to when I was younger because I was a wee bit more of a loudmouth, but now I'm like, I'm protecting my era now. Like, I'm like, that energy, I'm not feeding into that energy.
You can't win though.
You can't win. I think as soon as you enter an argument with a troll, like they've already won, because you're coming away from that conversation and you're fuming. You're wanting to like pounds. Like it's just a waste of your time. So I just don't feed into it. I take it for what it is. You are essentially in the public eye. Yeah. Not that I'm any public figure at all, but you are kind of putting yourself out there. So the best advice that I got was like, I was going to say there's 7 billion people, but there's actually not. It changed to now there's 8 billion people in the world, isn't there? There's that amount of people in the world anyway. They're not all going to like you. Like, I don't like everyone. Like, I will be scrolling on TikTok and Instagram and I'll be like, that person's annoying. Will I then message them and be like, you're annoying? No, because I'm saying like I'm a normal human being. But it's like I says to you before, there's some people that have access to phones and social media that shouldn't. And I think you just need to leave it at that. Like, there's obviously something going on in their life. It's a projection of what's happening with them and insecurity. I don't know what it is. Or maybe they just don't like you and they just want to tell you that. Yeah. But for every bad comment, I get like 10 nice ones. So you need to take the good with the bad. Yeah. I actually listened to this, I don't know how I'm going to murder his second name. Is it Gary Visterdijk? Have you seen him before? He's like he's like a motivational speaker. He's class. I think he's like New Yorker, he's got a New York accent. And he says you can't place too much emphasis on the good comments because when a bad one comes through, you're like, whoa, why does that person not like me? Everyone else is saying that they like me. Everyone else thinks my outfit's nice. Why does that one person not? So like, it's a shame because it kind of takes away from the niceness. Yeah. But that did also help me as well. Like, if I just seen it as like, it's just words, like it sounds, not that sometimes it's not. Like, if I'm having a bad day, like if I'm due on or something, I feel fat and someone comments like, you're fat, I'm going to be like, you're right, I'm fat at fake account 123. Like, how do you know that I am? But I'm definitely more than not, I'm not affected by it anymore. It just is what it is. Like,
that's it. But I think it's probably you've went through a process to get to that stage, and I think we see a lot of people online now and they're maybe new to being an influencer and they don't have that big following and they're scrambling about trying to do things to get the following, and you see people commenting and they're bouncing back and you're like, I couldn't live like that.
Yeah, like they speak in third person as if like that person is not going to see the comments.
It's just, it would live rent free in my head.
Yeah.
I'm bad enough when somebody puts like, I don't really like that person. I'm like, my God, man.
How could you say that?
But now I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's
enjoy your night.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think for how fast someone's written that message and thrown it away, that's how fast you should read it and then just be like, sound, whatever. Yeah. Unless they're like gunning for you and it's like a risk to your life. Just delete it and forget about it. Do
you ever get the same ones coming on? You're like, here we go.
I adore the block button. I will block. So no, if I've ever had like a really, really bad message before, I would just block them.
You just get rid. Best way to be. So from there then, what made you want to have your own brand? Because obviously you're in a good space, you've got your management, you're making money that's suitable for you. What then made you think, I want to go and do something else?
I'd already been toying with the idea before I left Quiz. And the idea obviously was to leave, start Amazon full time and live off that as a wage. But before I'd stopped Quiz, I was already starting Dula. Yeah. At the time it wasn't called Dula, it was called Edit. But COVID, we changed the name, thank God, because I would have, that's a rubbish name, Edit. I hate it. So we changed it to Dula. And sorry, someone came in that door there and I got distracted. So I was already working on it And it just so happened that by the time I was doing influencing just kind of took off, and then that was able to be like a main job for me. But while I was still doing that, because I was working for myself, I had all the free time to work on Dula. So I think building and like doing like the strategy and all that for it was about 2-3 years, and then we were supposed to launch in summer of 2020, and then obviously COVID happened, and it was actually the best thing for us. Like really narrowed down like what I wanted the brand to be, what I wanted to stand for. The collection was a lot more nice than what I would have been launching with. We changed the name, so I'd always said in my head like I wanted a name like seeing a girl's toilet on a night out, like it is the most positive place you'll ever go. Everyone's so nice. They're like, your makeup's gorgeous, I love your hair, where's your outfit from? And I always thought, right, if there's someone standing in a girl's toilet and they're wearing like one of my designs, so a Dula outfit, and someone says, oh, where's that from? And someone would reply, oh, it's from Edit. Like that word's too fluid, like that's used everyday language. So I was like, I need to think of a name that it's its own name and it's nothing else. So then that's when we came up with Dula. Which is do and la. It's from the French language. I can't speak French, but it's from the French language. And it said do and la is French and masculine pronouns. So I just put it together because everything that I was designing at the time was quite androgynous style. So it was like tailoring, but kind of like girly. But when I launched Dula, I did like a Q&A box on Instagram. Someone's like, where did you get the name from? So I described that. And this woman replied back being like, ha, 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 just to let you know, there's a whole group chat of French teachers slaughtering you right now because that's not the correct way to use it. And I was like, well, I'm not claiming to know the French language. And second of all, like, I'm not surprised that it's French teachers because they were always the arseholes at school. I don't know about you, but like, never a sound French teacher ever.
I actually didn't know that you say that.
No, it was language teachers. They were never sound. So I was like, fair enough. I remember screenshotting it, I put it in my family chat. And I was like, oh my God, like that's a bit extreme. My wee cousin went on, found the woman's Facebook, found the school that she worked at. She was like, do you want me to email the school right now? And I was like, absolutely not, mate, but thanks for like sticking up for me.
Why would you go to that? Actually setting up a group chat?
I know. But anyway, that's in case there's any French teachers listening. I'm not claiming to know the French language. It just sounds cute and it communicates the brand message very nice.
Jeez, man. So how... Probably this is a question loaded more for people who are maybe where you were a few years ago. How much work goes into setting up a brand from scratch?
So much. They're getting it off the ground. Like it's obviously hard work now, but they're getting it off the ground because a lot of what I was doing, and it'll probably be the case for a lot of people that start a business unless they've got maybe like a business partner, you're learning so much stuff that you just didn't know. So like I had to set up a company's house, I had to set up a bank account. We had to get like an EORI number, VAT registered, like all these things that I was like, this is so confusing to me, which is bizarre because I do have a business degree, but I just honestly, it's why I stand by the fact that I just don't really see, unless you're like going to be studying to be like a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it that you're learning and it's quite heavy stuff you're learning as well. Like you need to get everything right. So like I says, we were about 2-3 years. I keep saying we as if we're a massive company. It's not, it's just me. But I say we because I'm like, well, one day I will be a massive company. So it sounds...
It's like the Sandra thing in it. It's just
exactly, mate. Me and Sandra running the show for Dula. So yeah, I would say that was probably the most challenging. And then it was just like setbacks. Like obviously pandemic happened. That was a nightmare. We had... one factory that completely like all our samples were crap in the end up, so then I had to find a new factory, which for me that was the most difficult part of everything, was finding a good manufacturer. So yeah, getting it off the ground is hard, but it's the only way you're going to learn. So I think as long as you've got like your strategy set up, you've got investment for somewhere, you've got, if it's e-commerce, you've got a website built, if it's clothes you're selling, you've got designs and samples or whatever. The only way that you can learn is actually doing it. You need to learn in the job.
What was the, and this will sound like a pure basic question for a fashionista like myself, but where did the inspiration come from? So how do you drill down outfits that you want to put a name on and put out there?
So Dula's slogan is normalising outfit repeating. So I absolutely love House of CB and their business model. I just think they've did unreal, and I feel like they created their own wee niche and like the fashion industry market. So you've got like your low level fast fashion and then you've got your high end designer and they sit like in a nice middle ground that it's outfits that girls will invest into because it is expensive. Your dresses on there are probably about £120. That's a lot. If you're going out every weekend as like a young girl, that's a lot of money. Even if you're an older girl. I'm like acting as if I'm just spending 100. I'm absolutely not. It's an expensive item to buy. But I just loved that. And anytime I bought anything from House of CB, when I put it on, I felt unreal on it. And I would wear it time and time again.
Right.
And when I was younger, I would buy fast fashion stuff. I didn't have the income to buy a House of CB dress every single weekend. That time, it was very much like the culture, never be seen to be wearing the same thing again. Is that an actual
thing? I like
100%. Never wear. I would be going out every single Saturday night, like trying to find a husband. You know what I mean? I would not be caught dead wearing the same outfit. No way. Now I would, absolutely. And I don't think it's as much the stigma now, but back when I was going out every weekend, it was, and obviously it's not sustainable to be buying like outfits like that every weekend. So when I did get a wee bit older and I would start buying House of CB, I just loved the quality. I loved buying it. And I really liked the fact that they'd made a garment so well. And I felt so good in it that I'd want to wear it time and time again. So I really, really loved that aspect of House of CB. And I love the owner, Connor Walker, like pure look up to her. I'm obsessed with her. So when I was starting Dula, I was like, right, I know how much work goes into this. Like our design process and our manufacturing is about 8 months. Like that's a long time. I don't want someone just buying something once that I've worked 8 months on. Like you'll be wearing that more than once.
2 years out of that.
So that was really like the main focus, and that's what I always come back to. Like anytime I'm doing my designs, we don't really focus on anything that's too trendy. I want and see if someone bought something when we first launched in 2021, I want them to still be wearing it. So anytime I'm designing anything, that's what I always go back to, like normalising the outfit, repeating. The quality's unreal, the fabric's good, you're going to get a good few, like you're going to see your money through it, like you will get cost per wear for sure. So that's just always what we come back to.
How was the nerves before it actually went out?
Well, I actually wasn't going to put my name to it until about maybe 4 months before. Like it was really like down to like near launch, I wasn't putting my name to it.
Why?
Because I didn't want people to not like Dula because they didn't like me. I'd put like so much effort and investment into Dula, like it was my baby. Still is my baby. And obviously like not everyone would like you. And I hated the thought of like Dula being something that was unreal, but just because someone never liked me, they wouldn't have bought from it. But then like after speaking to like family and friends, they were like, that's so silly, like you should be proud of yourself. I had a platform to promote it on, like why would you not be using that platform? That's free marketing for you to drive it. And thank God I did, because a lot of our initial business was from my Instagram and from my followers. So I'm glad I got over that. That was just silly. I think that could have maybe just been like a wee bit of a fear thing, like, oh, I don't want people to judge me or whatever. But I'm glad I got over that because I am so proud of it. And there has been a few people that have bought stuff that I know maybe wouldn't have liked me in the past, but did buy stuff. So I'm like, right, sound, it didn't matter then. Like, they don't need to like me, but like my clothes.
But
so
then I suppose that's justified as well in the brand, isn't it? If people are willing to go and buy the actual outfits. Wowzers. I'm just learning about I thought that outfit thing was an absolute myth of wearing the same thing.
No, it's definitely not as much now. I think especially with like sustainability and like we need to be a lot more conscious with like the output that fashion has in the environment, like really bad. I think the fashion industry is the third biggest polluter. So, and especially like with younger Gen Zs now, like they really care about the environment. I feel like this generation is going to save what all the past generations have did wrong. I think this generation will fix it. So it's definitely like not a thing anymore.
Wowzers. What about, it could be from when you were launching the brand or from any other point, but what's the best bit of advice you've had?
I want to word this right. It was something about a rocking horse. It was like, life's like a rocking horse. So I was heavy stressed and like obviously I was stressful, like running your own business, whatever, and I'm just a pure anxious, overthinker, stressor. That's just what I am. And it says stressing is like a rocking horse. It will give you something to do, but it won't get you anywhere.
Nice.
So I told that when I first started, and I was like, right, okay, fine. Life's a rocking horse. We won't go out on the rocking horse. So that, yeah. And just being consistent.
Yeah.
Being consistent and resilient, because I think in starting, like your first starting few years is starting a business, like it is a bit of a slog.
Yeah.
And it's hard being a small business, like keeping it going.
Yeah.
But I think just for like the first 5 years, you just need to like get your head down and do it. And if you've got like a clear vision in your head of where you're going, it will pay back to you, but it's just hard in the beginning.
Yeah. What about from where you are now with it? Is there anything that you wish you knew at the start?
Yeah, I wish I budgeted a bit better. I wish I actually proper sat down and been like, right, here's an investment.
Yeah.
This chunk is going to go towards our product. This chunk will go towards our website. This chunk will go towards our marketing, and sat down like that. I'm quite like that in my life, just across the board though. Maybe it's because I'm bad at maths. I don't know. But like I said, I'm the creative side. So everything that I've learned business is been from, my mum had a business, she had a hairdressing salon. People in my family get businesses, so I've learned from them. Like I've always kind of been around like entrepreneurial people. I think that is quite a Glasgow thing. Like that's like a lot of people have small businesses. My family anyway, and like my mum and dad's pals, we were all kind of like business people, so I was always around it. So a lot of my business stuff's just been asking and learning. So yeah, that's probably what I wish I did differently. But like I said, if I'd never started that, I wouldn't have known that. So like now going into every new quarter and every new year, I know that I need to budget, and I know I need to be like, here's what we've got for the month to spend, here what we've got for 4 months. This is what we're going to do with it. I wouldn't have known that. So you just need to start. Yeah.
And do you feel more pressure now that brands out there and you've been selling things, but do you think, oh, I've got to up that now? I've got to kind of up my game for my next collection and then go again? And
I think that's just like a natural thing that you always want to do better and you always want to grow. I don't have a pressure on myself to be like in like the first year be this big multinational company, because the investment just purely comes from me. I don't have investors, I don't have business partners, so it's just being realistic. I'm not going to like turn over multi-million pounds in our first few years, and I'm fine with that, because I would rather we grow steady, I learn along the way. If we get to a certain point and investors is an option, it's not something that we completely rule out. But I like the now that everything that I do, I have control over. And like I says, it's just like learning as you go along. So, I mean, would it be gorgeous to have investors and turn over $1 million? Yeah, but I'm not Kim K. Do you know what I mean? Jilly Cross the south side of Glasgow. I've got to work with what I've got to work with. So we will get there, because I've got like this blind faith in myself that I will get there. I remember I read the founder of Nike's book. It took me about 6 months to read it, because I'm not a reader. Like I'm just not. My eyes to, I don't know, man. Trying my best, but I can't. So it took me about 6 months to read it. It was really interesting. And obviously it was a different time. Like Nike started in like the 60s. So obviously it's a lot easier now than what it was back then. But he didn't actually make an earner, like a profit for himself for 10 years. I just think, right, one of the biggest brands in the entire world, like you're going to be fine. Do you know what I mean? Take it slow, you'll get there. And
I suppose if you're doing that and if you're doing it organically, it saves that whole panic stations every year of, this hasn't hit X, Y, and Z, and what am I going to do? Because it's, as you say, it's just part of a plan.
I'm still learning a lot in the business side of things as well. So while we don't have mad targets like that to hit, it does take away the pressure. I still do influencing full time, because doing influencing full time allows me to invest my money into Dula. So I've essentially got 2 full-time jobs now. And it's hard sometimes to balance it. So focusing the now on bringing out regular collections, the website's good, we do our digital marketing, nailing our SEO and things like that. That's what I'm focusing on now. Just really nailing like the UK domestic market. And then we can look at scaling the business and maybe like investors and things. Because we have had investing companies like approaches, but I've just said no for just now. Because I feel like for me as the director, like I'll always be the director, or I'll go to CEO. Whatever my aspect of the business will be, I need to learn my business. And I think the way I'm doing it now is best.
Totally agree. Totally agree. How do you manage the balance though between the influencing side and that side?
I don't at all. I've got like no routine for it whatsoever. It changes every week, changes day to day. Like the nature of influencing is like you can have something that's due for approval and you send it over and they'll be like, no, I don't want that, and then you need to reshoot it. But because I am like planning my days around being in Dula's office and then also doing influencing, then I'm like, right, well, I'm not going to be able to go into the office, or I need to go into the office at this time, but then also need to do this. So it is difficult to strike the balance. But I do really enjoy it. I'm never bored. I like that I'm my own boss and I make my own wee routine. I work best like that. I like working myself. And like I says, you just need to put your head down and do it. Like if you've got this idea in your head of where you want to be, and I've got an idea in my head of where I want Dula to be, I just put my head down and do it really. And like influence, like I says, influence not a hard job. I'm lucky that I'm not doing like a 9-hour shift in the hospital and then leaving and going and working in Dula. Do you know what I mean? They both complement each other really well. Like I can be in Dula's office and if I need to shoot content, if I need to do something from influencing, I can do it in the office. So they tie in well with each other. But it's just a lot of work.
I can imagine. I find it bad enough putting a podcast out every 2 weeks. I sit and I'm like, shit, I've not posted anything.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing as well. So you might be able to squash a myth here. How does it work with the whole, do you post at the same times all the time or do you just post?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
Yeah, you have high performing times, 100%. Definitely on Instagram anyway. TikTok you don't used to be, but it is now. Because I don't know how recent it was, but they've changed their algorithm on TikTok. I don't know if you know that. I don't know what they've changed it to. But there are best times, But if you're set as a business or like a creator on TikTok, you can go on and you can see your analytics and you can see when your followers are most active and when to post. And I do notice if I post it not the most active times, they don't do as well. Infuriating, yeah. It's very technical. And it's definitely harder now for creators coming up now. It's a lot harder to make it than what it was like years ago. It's hard to grow your socials.
It definitely is. But I think as you say, it's like I think if you look at it as a organic thing and you know what you're doing is what you should be doing and you're on that path and you've just got to trust it and people going. There's
just so many influencers and creators now as well. See if it's not organic or genuine or you're not coming across as you. People know, people aren't going to buy into it. People are like, that's pure fake. So you do, it sounds pure cliche, but you do just need to be yourself.
100%. Do you get a lot of folk reaching out to you that are like maybe starting on that path?
I do, I get quite a lot now since I've started Dula. I get quite a lot of fashion students, which is quite nice because obviously I used to be in that position as well. And I would really love, like, see the way Manchester's become, maybe not like hundreds of fast fashion businesses, but I do really love how that pure elevated Manchester, and Manchester is now this place that people want to live. People want to go. I love going to Manchester. I love going out in Manchester. I like shopping there. The restaurant's good. I pure want Glasgow to have that moment. So I feel like more businesses opening, like fashion brands like myself, like once I get to a certain level, like how cool will that be that I'll be able to employ someone that like that used to be, that was me. Like I studied it. Uni and I learned fashion, and then you don't need to leave your hometown and you can like work for a brand here. So yeah, it is quite nice. I've like people like messaging for like dissertation questions now. Oh, what a fucking hellish time that was, man. Hellish. And he actually says that he was more relieved when I finished my dissertation than what I was, because he says it was a hardship being in a relationship with me.
Do you know something? Just see what I'm in year 1 of uni just now, and I'm trying to combine it with work. And
wow, that's hard, mate. Man. What is it you're studying?
Business.
Right, okay.
And I done the first few months. I'm like, this is all right. And then I'm doing marketing and economics. Jesus
the
Christ,
economics
man.
Part, it's hellish.
I don't know. Somebody could write that down to me in the plainest form ever, and I would still be like, no idea what you're talking about, mate.
Same.
Not a clue what you're saying to me.
I hated it. I definitely didn't get a good grade for that when I was at uni. No way.
I can get Andy stressed because that's what my missus is like.
Yeah.
It's just...
Oh, you're not a good person. I was a terrible person. Not a nice person to be around.
Sitting at 3 in the morning, checking essays and all that. Wild.
Like, just downing like a teaspoon in coffee and just raw downing instant coffee to keep yourself awake to study. Stupid.
Aye, still got another 3 years to go, so aye. Some buzz.
Yeah, some buzz. Worth it in the end.
What about kind of highs and lows from a working point of view? Obviously, we get people on to talk about all the brilliant stuff, but what about the bad points, work-wise or career-wise for you? How have you then kind of bounced back for them? And what have you kind of done within yourself to get yourself back into a kind of decent space?
Well, it's just like you just need to be really resilient in business. We're going back to that rocking horse, do you know what I mean? Like, you can go on it, but it's not getting you anywhere. So I think initially, at first, I struggled with like the stress side of things. I would get really, really anxious. I'm just an anxious person anyway. But I just deal with it a bit better. My skin got a bit thicker. I know how to respond to certain things now. I'm selling clothes. It's not like I'm saving somebody's life. Do you know what I mean? So it's not really that deep. And I'm lucky that we are still kind of the scale that we are at, that like I'm not making multi-million pounds like mistakes. Do you know what I mean? I hope one day I do that. As long as I earn it back, like, that'd be quite cool. It'd be like that level.
100%.
I will be at that level. I need to speak positively. But you just need to be really resilient. And just like when something does go wrong, you just need to bounce back for it. Like when we got our first like orders from our factory, they'd sent a style in the completely wrong fabric. Right. And they just were saying flat out, no, we didn't, it's the same fabric. And I was looking at the sample and I was looking at the one they sent, and the one they sent wasn't. But with the way it is with your manufacturing, you need to pay everything up front before they send you it.
Right, okay.
So they had my money. So I was like, what am I going to do here?
Yeah.
And we just had to cut our losses with it. So there's just things like that in business that you just need to roll with the punches.
Yeah. That must be a killer at the time though, when you're sitting waiting on this
Killer
stuff
at the time. And it was just back and forth arguing. I was like, our hands are tied behind our back here. There's nothing we can do. Like, just need to get on with it.
I suppose, as you say though, that's probably the learnings you won't get until you're
100%, yeah. Absolutely. And now I know, like, we have a process now. Like, once we have approved something in a fabric, we've got a spreadsheet, everything's put into it, no mistakes are made like that. We've got a contract written up. I wouldn't have known any stuff like that. Yeah. But you learn on the job, and like you really don't learn anything like you do then from your mistakes. Yeah. So I think take it as a positive.
What about the high point? What's been the biggest high for you so far?
I think, when was it? I think we launched about 6 or 7 months, and then we were in Vogue. Vogue emailed us to ask to be a part. And I don't know if my hope would beat it, because that was quite early on to have peaked, but that was class for me. I'm like, to my core, a pure fashion girl. Like, I love it. When I first started working in cruise, obviously because it was all designer stuff, you would have reps for like the designer brands coming in, and I just pure fed into it. Like, I love fashion weeks. See, when it's fashion months and it's all like the fashion weeks at Paris and all that, like I sit and I look at all it, like I'm obsessed with it. Devil Wears Prada is my favourite film.
I love that film, to be fair.
Mate, it's so good in it.
Stanley Tucci is amazing in
it. You can maybe play him if a Devil Wears Prada 2 comes back. Fashion guru, you've got the hair.
And this would be a pair of glasses. I love Stanley Tucci.
It's so good. So that was class. Like, buying Vogue ever since I was a wee girl. Like, watch Sex and the City and like Carrie Bradshaw's like, I buy Vogue, it feeds me more. So yeah, that was definitely a highlight. That was class.
I'd have thought that was a wind up that early on. I'd have been like, no.
I know. I was very much like, there's no way. Like, I was emailing somebody at Condé Nast. That's pure sick, isn't it? How good's that?
Oh my days. What about, obviously I know you've done it yourself and you're self-employed. Do you have anybody that's a kind of mentor to you, or somebody that you can go to for advice that you can bounce ideas off of? Or?
Yeah, so like I said, I've got my people in my family. I've got businesses. I go to them for everything. I'm also not I've got a bit of a brass neck as well. I'll ask, that's what I was like at school. I think that's why like I did good enough to get into uni, because I would just ask questions all the time. And like, I've never thought a question's a stupid question, because if I don't know it in my head, like, you need to ask somebody. So I just ask. Google's my best pal. If my dad's pal knows somebody, I'll be like, that's my dad, go to phone him because I need to know X, Y, Z. Using my network has been my best definitely.
What about fashion idols? Who do you aspire to?
I actually really I like stylists, see like celebrity stylists. Yep. I find it fascinating that somebody can boost a celebrity's status purely through clothes.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen it with Megan Fox. Megan Fox fell off the face of the earth. And then she got this stylist called Style Me Maeve.
Right.
She used to style Hailey Bieber.
Okay.
And then next minute, Megan Fox is this pure style icon again. Same way Hailey Bieber. Like, Hailey Bieber was just kind of like, she was kind of like surface level, like, you know her because she went out with Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And then this Style Me Maeve started styling her, and now she's a pure fashion icon. She's not styled by her anymore. But when I worked at Quiz, I did a bit of styling. I mean, there wasn't no hard feelings Quiz, but there's no much to style at Quiz. So it was a hard gig, that. But I really, really enjoyed styling. Yeah. So I find that pure fascinating. So I really like stylists. And that's who I follow for inspo anyway. And influencers as well. But like I don't really look at celebs and be like, oh wow, because I know that there's a stylist behind that. Yeah. So I like the stylist.
The person in the background.
Yeah.
Fair dues.
Yeah.
What about, touched on that a wee bit, obviously, with people contacting you through your pages about the brand and about the influencing. On both sides, what advice would you give to someone, say a young Jilly, somebody at 15, 16 who's maybe in that space? What would you say to them based on your kind of experiences in both areas? To
get into influencing or to get into like work my brand?
Both.
For both of them, the best thing ever is networking. Like I can't emphasize that enough. And that's hard.
Yeah.
I know it is difficult, but you just need to get yourself in spaces where you know you're going to meet people that can get you somewhere else. So like, for example, when I worked at Cruise, I worked with another girl. Her friend worked in London in matches, and I got an interview for an internship. Never got the internship, but I got an interview for the internship. Wouldn't have gotten that if I never worked at Cruise. When I worked at Quiz, I met a reality star's agent. That agent ended up taking me to Coachella. So you really need to build a good network. And that's just all through experience. Like, you just need to start working in places that will get you somewhere else. Might not be what you want to do, but it will get you somewhere. And then from a business aspect, obviously have your practical things sorted, like a strategy and like starting a company's house and stuff like that. But just starting it, because I learned more in my year and a half of having Dula than I ever did in my 4 years of uni. And I wouldn't have learned that if I never started it. So yeah, you just need to take away the fear and just go for it. I
was going to say, it's right out the comfort zone, isn't it? Really,
right out the comfort zone. Yeah, rip the plaster off. But I was going to say Band-Aid there, and I was like, no,
full American.
They're going to slaughter me. I said Band-Aid, no plaster.
What about? What do you see for yourself in the next couple of years? I don't want to say the plans, but what do you hope?
My long-term plan is to get Dula to a level that is my only full-time job. Obviously influencing is class. Yeah. But I don't see myself doing that forever.
Yeah.
And I'm like pure passionate about Dula. Like, it pure sets my heart. Like I love it. So that's what I'm working towards now. Like, building that up to be a proper, like, good company that's employing people and we're like at a good level that we're competing with your likes of House of CB.
Would you be gutted to finish influencing?
I don't think I'd finish it altogether.
Like
I says, it's cushy. I would miss it, definitely. I would have it more as I'd pick and choose kind of thing. I don't take any money out of Dula now. Any money we make goes right back into the business. So I need it for my wage to live. Obviously any money I make off it as well, I can put back into Dula to invest. But it would just be more like, I'd just be a wee bit more selective with what I did. And because it ties in nice.
100%.
They both work well with each other. So it's not as if I would need to stop it completely.
Yeah.
I would just be putting my sole focus on Dula and then just like picking and choosing when I wanted to influence.
Love it. Right. I promise you a wee quick fire round. So I'm going to just throw 20 questions at you.
Right, okay.
Don't think about it.
Right, okay, wait, let me get a water first. You're going to have me talking fast the way.
Well, you don't need to fire back fast. Like,
right,
you
okay.
just need to,
I'm allowed to think.
You're allowed to think. We'll put a wee timer on.
Sound.
This just lets people get to know you a wee bit. Right, let's go. Favourite holiday destination?
Ibiza or Orlando.
Okay, quite pick one.
I can't. No, honestly. Right, Ibiza.
Ibiza?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I just think it's the best place in the world. It's got the best of both worlds. Obviously, I worked there. Like, I did 2 seasons there, so maybe I've just got like that wee aspect. Yeah. But I seen so much, like when I did work there, I seen like, it's not just partying's unreal.
Yeah.
But it's not just the partying. The beaches are beautiful. I love the Spanish lifestyle. Like, I wish I could pick Dula up and work for Ibiza. Like, I just love the heat in my bones, despite being ginger.
Would you recommend that as well, like that experience of working abroad?
100%. I couldn't recommend that more.
Aye.
Especially at that age. You need to move away a wee bit for your hometown.
Aye.
Even if you try it and you don't like it and you can move back, I think it just opens your mind a bit more. Different cultures, you change your landscape, like you're more open-minded with things. Obviously I went because I was like young and wanted to party for my whole summer. But even if it is like moving away a bit for work, doing an internship somewhere, I honestly think it's crucial to live away from where you're from for a bit.
Bad life experience.
100%, yeah.
Love it. Favourite TV show?
I would say Game of Thrones, but the last 2 seasons, honestly,
I've never watched Game of Thrones.
Unreal. But then the last 2 seasons, they don't follow, so all the first few seasons follow the books.
Right.
The books aren't done.
Right.
So then the last was just these writers making it up, and it was awful. And it killed it. That or Entourage.
Entourage is class.
Sick, innit?
Entourage is class.
It's good.
Favourite band or singer?
Paolo Nutini. Yeah, he's my favourite. He was who I could listen to him, like, I feel like, who could you listen to you'd never be sick of? And I would say Paolo. I
see that wee end bit changes it, because you do get people. I used to quite like Ed Sheeran, and now I can't.
You need to be in the mood for him, but that's the radio that's ruined it. Poor Ed.
Capital.
Because he's in Capital, you've got a lot to answer for. What are you doing that to Ed for? Really talented songwriter of this generation. I can't listen to him.
Outrageous. This closest friend.
Probably my wee cousin Olivia.
Nice. The folks sitting there raging now.
Cuban, yeah.
Favourite food?
Pasta. Yeah.
Talking cheesy pasta or actual pasta?
No, like actual like I went to a restaurant and an Italian has made me it. Pasta.
Just from scratch?
For scratch. Like they've got the flour and the egg and they're like kneading it with their hands and that. Like professional. Shout out to Don Costanzo, because that is an unreal Italian if you want good pasta.
Where's that?
It's just in Woodlands. Yeah.
Nice. Favourite drink? Can be alcoholic or non-alcoholic.
Non-alcoholic, this will get me cancelled, sparkling water.
Oh.
I don't like fizzy juice unless I'm hungover. I would not thank you for a fizzy juice.
Right.
Unless I'm hungover and I need a can of Diet Iron Brew.
Right.
But normally sparkling water, like day to day, I just drink water, mate.
I think you could be the first person I've ever spoke to that likes sparkling water.
I think everybody needs to grow up. Like, you all need to get your palate sorted, because sparkling water is unreal.
I mean, folk must buy it.
Pure defamation of character at sparkling water. I don't understand.
I don't know. It's just weird.
I've got a soda stream. Do you know how, like, for the 60s,
proper old school
in it, and I just make my own sparkling water. Like, see the way the Italians make their own pasta. I can make my own sparkling water. It's unreal.
I mean, I'd rather have the pasta. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd rather have the pasta.
Me too, to be fair now.
Favourite film?
Harry Potter's.
Oh, nice. Did you have a favourite one from them?
Order of the Phoenix, yeah.
Nice.
Or Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Just 2?
Yeah, I know, I can't pick. Or masterpieces.
Best thing about having your own brand?
Like the proud feeling when you see someone wearing it.
Nice. Childhood hero?
Probably Britney Spears.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
She was my icon.
Still, or she went a bit awkward these days?
I know, but I think she's had a hard life, you know, Gary, and I feel heart sorry for her.
100%.
But I think that's just Hollywood's wholly weird. Like, weird stuff goes on in the end.
I do think when you see people like that, you're probably somebody needs to take their social media off them and just let them enjoy their life.
For sure, yeah.
It's crazy. What scares you?
Dying.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't want to die.
Because they spiders or something?
No, don't. I'm sure. I think I'm getting older and dying all the time.
Do you?
I get terrified that I haven't did everything that I want to do in my life.
I used to think about that when I was like 9 or 10, sit and go, what happens?
Yeah, I can't. That or being taken. Like, know how the movie Taken?
Aye.
That terrifies me. I genuinely have, that is something that I have a real fear about. Because do you know what, Gary, it happened. You can be scared of like ghosts and that.
Aye.
Taking in happens. It's rife, man. So terrifies me.
I mean, the dying one's going to happen at some point.
The dying one's happened, but it's also a high likelihood of taking. I blame my mum for that. She's pure terrified me being scared of everyone. Like, be alert, 24/7, watch your back.
I mean, when I was a wee guy, there was all the things about the clowns that used to drive
Mind
about
that?
and put people in vans and fucking scared to go to the show.
So a few times when I was at primary, the school would give us a letter and it would be like, a guy in a white van approached a girl at this time of the day, be aware of this white van.
That must be where it started, subconscious.
It's in my head now, mate. I just keep looking for that guy in a white van. I'm like, oh, watch out.
One thing about yourself that nobody would know.
Me and my brother share our birthday, and my mum and my dad share their birthday.
How random is that?
Mad, innit?
It's a real lottery ticket.
Weird.
It
was a good icebreaker. See, when I would do interviews,
Aye.
the employer remembered me defo. Was something interesting about yourself? I like, I fucking know this one. I'll never forget me.
I'm glad they never asked you what scares you. Fucking hell, man.
Get that emo out of
here. One thing that just gets in your nerves.
There's a lot of things that gets in my nerve, Gary. So I'm just trying to think of one. Butter in a bagel, that annoys me. That gets in my nerves because the butter. You don't butter your bagel?
No.
Why not?
Just a wee bit of sauce.
You have a bagel with sauce?
Aye.
What kind of sauce?
Just depends what I'm
You have a dry bagel with like tomato sauce?
Depends what's in the bagel. If I'm having just like a bit of bacon or something, I'll just put a wee bit of sauce
Absolutely never. No, that's diabolical.
You can't drink sparkling water and hit me with that. Come on.
Something that annoys me is somebody that has a dry bagel. Actually, that's a new trigger for me. I'm actually a really irritable person, so we could be here all day.
Cyclist is probably mine.
Yeah, they're annoying. Yeah.
They need.
Absolutely not. We're not in Amsterdam. We don't have the infrastructure for it. Please go and get off the streets.
Well, you build loads of cycle lanes and choose a road.
Yeah.
Like,
what are you doing?
Waste of money, mate.
Absolutely.
Biggest regret, if you've got one?
Going to uni.
That's unusual, isn't it?
I know.
First job you ever had?
I worked in my mum's salon at the age of 12. I was child slave labour. I was a junior. She had me washing.
Would you get paid?
Hair.
What was your first
£20.
wage?
I would do a Saturday shift, £20. She would have me come in at like the busy period, so it was about 11 o'clock to about 5, and then I would clean up every Saturday. I was rich. Like, remember when you were younger, no, you used to go on a night out and you would take £40 and you would come home with £40.
Aye.
Like, your money just went so far the days. So yeah, I was rich, gang, and obviously because I was young, like the women feel sorry for me, so I got unreal tips. I did one shift in a burger van, and it's the hardest graft I've ever did to this day. It was hell. It was at, I don't know if they still do it, it was at Glasgow Green, and it's like some bagpipe thing.
Oh, the bagpipe championships?
That's what I was at. So it was a 14-hour shift selling burgers. We were on the tills of, as I've said, I'm terrible at maths, and it wasn't like operated tills, so I had to do the maths myself.
Oh, no.
So the amount of time I get changed wrong, and there were people being like, "You've given me the wrong change." Awful.
So you're not going to run a
So I'm not going to go back to burger vans. Thank God, fashion worked out for me.
Well, I mean, just seamlessly linked. What's your favourite junk food?
Italian, or actually no, because that's not really junk food. A chippy. Love a chippy. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I'll just get a fish supper classic. I'll always get a pickle. But I really love a pizza crunch, a buttered roll and chips with curry sauce.
Yep.
It's a good order, innit?
Oh, day. One thing that's guaranteed to cheer you up?
My 2 dogs, Betty and Mama. They're dogs of Bordeaux.
Nice.
They're ginger.
Is that part of the cheering up, or is that just luck?
That's just luck. I have the Weasley family. I'm living my Harry Potter dream with these 2 dogs.
Are you superstitious?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, probably should have knew that after the dying thing.
Well, absolutely. Fair, but,
yeah. How would your mates describe you in 3 words?
I should have messaged them and asked. Loyal. I don't know if I can say it, but like a good listener. But that is technically 2 words, but don't kill me for that. And what's the last one? A boozer. I like a drink.
Winter or summer?
This is crazy for me, right? I was a pure winter baby, like obsessed with Christmas. My birthday's in January. I don't need to do as much fake tan in the winter because I'm covered up. I prefer winter fashion, but over the last 2 years, I'm a summer baby. I think COVID did it to me.
Yeah.
Like, COVID summers was sound, and then winter came and it was hell, and then summer would come and it was fine. So I'm actually a summer person now. I can't wait for summer.
Yes, I just want light nights.
Light nights. I need to wake up at 7 and not be pitch black outside.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Your biggest phobia?
Biggest phobia. I've definitely got one. I just need to think of it. I don't really like when I'm doing the dishes and there's like food floating about and you touch it.
Oh, in the water?
I suppose that's a bit minging. It's not really a phobia, is it?
But then just put rubber gloves on and you don't need to touch it.
I should do rubber. Well, there we go. My phobia solved. Thanks so much for that. 28 years of hardship for what?
Hardship?
All I had to do was get rubber gloves, mate.
There's no way you've been doing dishes for 28 years.
There's no way. I barely do a dish now, mate. I'll be honest. So don't even know why I picked that as a phobia.
Thank you so much. This has been class.
It's been good to me. I've had a great time.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what you do brand-wise, because obviously
Thank
I'll
you.
be wearing it.
Well, of course, as soon as Dula men, I mean, unless you want to wear the Dula stuff that's in the now, I'll obviously send you it, but
we should have a Dula men's range.
Once the Dula men, you're the model for it. So you're heading it up.
Stanley Tucci's and that.
Perfect.
Ready to go.
Devil Wear Pradas 2s, they're already in production now. They're planning for it.
Need a Scottish one.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Guy. It was great.
Cheers.
Thank you.